Welcome to another episode of Breaking into Cybersecurity, where we talk to information security professionals about their career in tech and cyber, how they got into it, how they're adjusting to the challenges, and any tips and tricks along the way. Today we have Tal with us. Tell us about what got you into tech and cyber to begin with.
It started as a very interesting, I would say, journey by me got my first computer at the age of 12, I guess, 12, 13th. And then when we first saw the internet, and then some games and interesting games, whatever, sophisticated Tetris. And there were some prizes alongside this game, which was I was extremely motivated, like to get a prize. And I knew that I was the best at this game. When I woke up the next morning, I realized that I'm no longer, like ranked number one. And I was a bit disappointed because I knew that no one else is better than me. And I was by far, like I would say like the second best. So I woke up and then I saw that I'm second. And then there was someone who came out of nowhere, was never there. And he took the prize. So I was so disappointed because I felt that, he must have been cheated, like in order to, be like number one and get a prize. And I said, okay, if he can do it, I can do it as well. So this is what I would say my curiosity led me into this journey of, being a hacker without even knowing that I'm a hacker. I just wanted, to win more prizes. And eventually I just discovered that I am against other, cheaters, right? Like at the end of the day, like I didn't see any game that there were like people that play right, okay? Like they never win. I was called the female version of Robin Hood. And then long story short, I made my own solution, like email security solution. Today everyone knows it, but 24 years ago it wasn't exist. And I made my first $1 million before I was 18. Like 20 years ago,
Wow.
it was pretty nice. Yeah.
Long story short, this podcast is about diving into it.
Okay.
You got your curiosity from the game that got you into it. So, what did you do to build up your skills and your capabilities to get to that next level?
So I realized that if I win only prizes, like I don't want to sell them, right? To get money. Like I don't know, I just gave them to my friends. And then I said, like, okay, there is, people are struggling with some deep issue problems, and email can be very bad. And you can get some malicious emails sometimes that people are not even aware. And, the configure and, like the kind of the old or the first time ransomware or whatever. It's not really ransomware, but, the ones that shut down the entire PCs or devices all over the world. So I said, okay, that is strange. People can really hurt organizations, like with just a couple of I would say like code lines, and they can just, make so much damage, and there is no protection against it. And basically, if you go back even farther, you will see that Norton and others, this is how they started, right? Like there is an agreement that the way that they used to sell antiviruses back then was because they used to break into stuff and to show them, look, you need it. When I created my email security with my partner, we felt like people don't believe us that they need it. So we need to show them that they need it. And we also show them in our way that, like they didn't want to listen to a 16 and a half year old, girl that came with whatever, like, and, like this, like a t-shirt, maybe jeans, and, explain to them what are computers, why they need to secure them. They weren't as open as people are today. So I just showed them how easy it is to break into their network, and then they just took our solution. Yeah, that's in short the version of what happened, but we made it. It took us some time, but I don't know, like bringing into the bank, $1 million. No one really believed me. They didn't believe me. I came with kind of a garbage bag, like a big one. People thought that I have, like a body or something inside, and I all I had is like, like bills, like, and people thought that I robbed the bank and something. No, look, I did it legit. They bought the software and that's it. And that's what we did. It is legit. It's not. And back in the days, if you, I mean, obviously you remember, but it wasn't as, I would say, today, if you do something that is not right, like you break into stuff, whatever, then you get into prison, or at least, if you are younger, then, someone is taking care of you if you do some crime. But back then, no one even knew how to deal with it, right? Like, it's okay. Like, but I didn't really break just to break. I break into them to understand that they need to buy the solution. Yeah, that's how I started my career, my interesting career or my journey in the cybersecurity world.
So you did it the hard way. You showed them how to do it. So did you end up going to school? Did you only start to work on building your business? What was your growth journey?
After many podcasts and interviews, you are the only one that's asked this question, which is interesting. As to be honest, I did finish my 12 years. I had, like A plus. Everything was amazing, and then I was a nerd. Okay, let's say it. Okay, I'm not shy. But then in Israel, when you turn 18 ish, you need to decide, like, you need to go to the army, okay? Like, you cannot
Hmm.
really avoid it. Like, and I started in a fighter pilot course. It was a
Hmm.
very interesting career. I didn't finish it because, again, I thought I have my own rules and I know better than everyone. But here, let's say in this part, it didn't really work because, well, they kind of kicked me out of the course. They didn't want me to stay longer because I was rude and I told the pilot that, and my self-confidence was really high and he didn't like it. It's like, heads off, don't touch. Like, it's okay. And this is how, after some time, I was kicked from the course and I continued to some computer units. So computer units, like, I would say equivalent to 8200.
Hmm.
And I got all of the like certificate of excellence, everywhere I went. Like, they kind of turned they kind of stop helping your pocket, start helping your country because, from making, I don't know, like $1 million, I made like $100 a month. But this is where I decided that, yeah, I mean, we have only one country to live in. We are very small. I want to help my country. And I always say to everybody when they see Mossad or CIA or FBI, maybe you see it on movies, but at least 50% of it's real. And when when they told me, hey, you are helping innocent people, we want to keep our country safe and secure, and you need to help us. And that was just, like my mission from now on. I got a security clearance. I started, doing what pretty much I was told. And this is where I realized that, like, I need to change my mindset from, like, if I think like a hacker, but instead of it like I think like that, but I built something that actually, like,
You
think like
become a
them.
defender.
Exactly. But the best defenders today are the ones who think like them. Are
Hmm.
the ones to understand exactly what they have, like what they have here and what they are going to
Hmm.
do. And
Hmm.
that's the best way to build the best protection tools and solutions today. So after 5.5 years, I continued to some, I would say, high tech companies, such as the longest I was at EMC, that was acquired by Dell.
Hmm.
And I used to make my own manual solution, kind of scripting or whatever thing that I created that helped many customers. In not only in Israel, but also some banks in Europe, some manufacturing in the US. And when I said, why is that manual? Like, why no one? I mean, finally today people understand that we don't have a detection problem, we have a remediation problem because so many solutions will tell you what is wrong. It's very hard to fix them. And this
Hmm.
is why what I started back in the days. And no one really, everyone was dismissive. And I went to the top company in the world, so like top companies in the world that really do this on the Windows, on the Linux, on the Macs, whatever that you have, whatever end user device or server that you have. And when they turned down and said, no, no one needs it. No, no. And I said, whatever, I'll do it. And this is how, I mean, this is how I started pretty much my own company. So I do not have any academic degree. Okay. So I have only 12 years. I mean, that's all.
Hmm.
I, I wanted to, but I had other priorities. So I just continued to do what I'm doing
Well,
today.
sometimes you don't need it, but the reason I ask is right. So in the U.S., especially today, when you're doing a lot of job searches and you have ATS that are automatically screening in and screening out candidates just based on requirements like that, it becomes a question that I ask my guests, like, do you ever hit a ceiling that when you're job searching or you're transitioning in your mid-career, later career, that not having that degree becomes a blocker for you to get that next role? And that's always one of the interesting questions to ask experienced people like yourself is what are they seeing today in the market when AI is being used to auto reject 99% of the applicants that are coming in today?
Okay. So my answer is going to be splitted into, I would say, startup or small companies into some
Hmm.
enterprises. And then within this split, you will see technical versus executives, okay, like management.
Hmm.
So startups, we look for people who already been there, done that, and wants to take it 10 times better. Okay.
Hmm.
We don't really care if you are a professor at something. Okay. And again, unless this is a startup right now in biomed or, like a cancer thing, of course, you need to have, degrees, you need to be whatever, like whatever thing that they are looking for. Not the same. But
Hmm.
if you're looking for someone who is really like already dealt with AI, knows what to do with LLM and how to treat, like how to make the organization better, faster. And I want from one person, I want each person to become, like at least 3x. I mean, I need him at least to be 3x, especially
Hmm.
with the engineering. And so I do not need anyone coming with, certificates. Yeah, I did this cloud course. I did that. Like, no, thank you. But I'm looking someone with, hands-on and someone who already built some stuff because eventually experience is the best. We took very senior people from Amazon, from Rapid7, from other places that I didn't really need them to have the degree. I really need them to have the experience and they know how to teach me because eventually I hire people that are way better than me in what they are, where they are going to. And that's really
Hmm.
important. At the beginning, they realize that in order to grow properly, they need to hire people that are better than them and they need to pay. Sometimes they pay them more than they pay themselves. And it happens,
Hmm.
especially in Israel, when your salary is not even equivalent to the salary that you get in the US. And we realized also many startups in Israel, we understand that we are very good at tech and very bad at scale. So in order to scale, we need to go to the US. We need to hire people in the US. That's pretty much the only way to scale.
Hmm.
Now, if I go to enterprises, it's very hard to change something among enterprises, as you can imagine, right? It's like it's
Hmm.
a very big thing, bureaucracy. So the technical people, they don't have to come with a degree or with anything. They get to, I would say, like to whatever sort of probably director, senior director, but probably they will not be like SVP or something like it will be very
Hmm.
hard for someone to become, like a very senior without a degree, which again, I believe it's a problem today, but eventually if someone, for example, used to manage 50 people or 100 or 2,000 people in so many places and he didn't have a degree and now the only barrier is a degree. It's very hard for me. That's why I kind of escaped from, the enterprises and
Hmm.
to have my own small company. So yeah, that's I would say the answer for both startups, small, medium enterprises, and again, especially if you go to real management or to be a technical manager, which is way different.
I appreciate you breaking it down like that because your experience both as a business owner as well as an applicant within the talent pool allows you to do that. So you kind of mentioned that we don't have a detection problem, we have a remediation problem. So what did you start to do and how did you start to do it to create your own solution to that remediation problem?
We started like 7 years ago, and we did have back then like dozens of customers already, but people never budgeted it. I mean, until today, just
Mhm.
second, but there is a twist. So they didn't budget. They couldn't really, I mean, like from now to now, they needed to enter it. They needed to put it in, like kind of now they call it, they have a nice name to it. And people realize that they eventually, they are going to replace it with time and with other people. Had a huge project of whatever teams to address one thing that we do. So I'll give you just an example to be a bit more accurate or technical.
Mhm.
Like, let's take the old protocol SMBV1, or let's take the print spooler that even, again, like it's still there. The last patch Tuesday had another print nightmare. Alicia, it's like, come on. It's like once in a 2, 3 months, you have another zero day on the print spooler. So first we say, on the SMB that is deprecated, unpatchable, you don't really need it. And for the print spooler, again, who needs to print today? Okay, so just keep the devices that really need to print. Most of them, like 90+% of them, they don't need it. So here's what we did. We mapped any device that, for example, the SMB or the print spooler, are active. Not only active, but we told you like active usage. Like if you really need it. So we
Mhm.
gave you contextual awareness.
Mhm.
And then we are not only giving you, hey, SMB wasn't used in the past 90 days, for example, or print spooler, hey, you have the printer enabled, but no printings.
Mhm.
So we just added on top of that the remediation, which is, hey, now you can fix it with a single click. You don't need to patch the entire patched user in order to do it. Just close it. Or SMB, it's not
Mhm.
patchable, so just disable it. Now, at any given time, they can revert, meaning they can bring it back to the misconfigured state that it was. But the exactly, and the magic here is they really trust the system. At the beginning, they said, "Oh, I have like a project assigned to disable SMBV1 or Twin Spoiler, or now with AI. Like I need to disable the skills, I need to disable the co-work, I need to whatever." And it's like they kind of project it within weeks or months, depends how big the organization is. And with
Mhm.
Remedial, they just do it with a single click. That's all. And they love it. And that's what we see. And that's what we love as well. Because at the end of the day, people really trust the system because not only that it gives you end to end, it gives you the contextual awareness, it gives you the remediation, but also the revert. They saw how we actually save them time and money in order to get the system. Today, we replace completely the traditional vulnerability management that they have today because we added this module and we added remediation on top of that. So it's like now we can actually replace one budget line with another.
Wow. Kind of the question I had was more so in your mind, right? When you had this as a problem that you wanted to solve, how did you first go about solving it? And then kind of like your email solution, proving that this was a problem that needed to be solved and proving to organizations that this needed a budget item or a line item associated to it to kind of prove that it was needed and prove the scale that you needed, right? Like you mentioned, in Israel you could develop the tech, but in the States you can grow the scale. So how did you go about like showing that the business value to the teams?
So when another important thing to mention is we were bootstrapped. So remember, like for 6.5 years, we didn't take any money. It was even harder to
Mhm.
access, like some organizations, because today VCs usually introduce you to whatever, then you need to do the entire work by yourself. You
Mhm.
need to search, you need to go to events, and then you had the COVID. So even bootstrap, with limited money, then you cannot
Mhm.
even fly. It's very now how you are going to get into these accounts. So we were lucky by having two customers back then, Checkpoint and CyberArk. They kind of opened some doors for us, which was
Mhm.
a great thing. And Checkpoint pretty much said, "Oh, you are sitting on a golden egg. Let me
Yeah.
introduce you to all of the customers that, like we know that customers are doing big projects about it. I mean, it's a remediation project. I mean, that everyone needs. It's a configuration drift. I mean, like everyone needs
Yeah.
configuration management. And Obviously, before we got, the vulnerability, the application control, before this
Hmm.
custom compliance, everything about it, like even only configuration. So we got into a couple of accounts and then they introduced us a few. And then like it took us, slowly but surely, but we made it happen. And because people saw that we solve a real pain, like one of the immediate reaction that we got from customers that finally a solution that solves the pain. Because again, already back then, they already said, look, we have whatever vulnerability that is telling us what is wrong. And then what? Then I need to go get the very nice PDF or whatever and then forward it to our IT and they need to deal with it.
Of
Solution of the pain.
automation to do it, it's hard to do.
Exactly.
Wow. So now for let's kind of take a pivot for those in the job market today.
Mhm.
What tips and tricks would you give them for if you're entering the job market or if you're transitioning from one role outside of tech and cyber into tech and cyber? What tips and tricks would you give them for the job market today?
So if they are engineers, I have to tell you that for senior engineers, there is almost no room. Okay. Like it became very strict now. And you must have the ability to take advantage of the AI. Do everything with AI. Install the cloud, codex. I mean, just use it all the time, like manage the skills, have the ability to control the things, like, I mean, build your own stuff with it. It's not a problem today. You need to understand. Today, we don't have problem also with engineering. Like, we don't have problem with detection. We have with remediation. With engineering, we need to have someone that is already, they have their, I would say, also the mindset of a product. Okay. So this is the way to design and build things. Obviously, the more complex it is, the more engineering skills you need to have, of course. But if you don't have the product mindset because the cloud is or whatever, they do everything for you, then you need to have it as the baseline. Because if you are not going to have it as the baseline, that's a problem. I mean, you cannot really use only VS Code. Like use VS Code with a Cloud plugin. I don't know. I don't care. Just use something with AI. It's a must have. You need to build your own projects. You need to search for the right things. Go and explore and don't be afraid. I mean, it's okay. It's okay to hear. I mean, when I started Remedio, I heard no all the times. Like, what are you doing it? No, it will not be successful. No one believes in it. It's only a feature. And we have today hundreds of customers. We became like last year, even double digit ARR. We people love us and we really do something that helps the world. But if you want to do something also, don't only listen to yourself. Go and talk to others. Go and understand what is the pain. Go and see what is really trendy today. So then you can go there and you can be part of the team. And it's okay not to be always the leader. It's okay to start with even lower position and then, like climbing up and see yourself eventually as a leader. And I believe that it takes some courage, but it's really worth it. I don't say skip school, but I don't necessarily think the school is essential in order for us today to make some progress in the world. And startups are hungry, looking for more and more people. I mean, it depends. If you go to an enterprise, you will probably do less than you go to a startup, and probably you'll do more. But, be ready to, when you go to a startup, to do way more. And let's say, for go to market, if they are looking for something, even, I hear also some engineers that they pivot from engineer to do a pre-sale or to do like post-sale or to do even success or whatnot. I believe the more even this becomes like a huge trend now when
Mhm.
in order to sell more. And that is why when someone comes from an engineering perspective and he knows how to add the sales on top of that and not only stick with engineering, that's what gives them the real possibility to grow even, like above and beyond, because that's eventually what we see. We see people that go out of the box thinking, like they think very creatively and they really make things happen.
Well, Tal, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing all your amazing tips and tricks and share links for any useful repos or books that you recommend. and I'll share them in the show notes with everyone.
Of course. Thank you so, so much for having me.
Absolutely.
It was great. Thank you.